My name is Bill. I'm the CEO of Saisei Networks. I'm going to give you a little bit of different viewpoint from that of an ISV, or independent software vendor, in a NFE environment or software environment. Before I go into the presentation, just a little background on Saisei and what the meaning is. But Saisei is a Japanese term. In Japanese, it means to give a new life or to have a rebirth. It also means to record and play back. Both of those meanings are very meaningful to Saisei, and they, it was named Saisei with great intent, and that we really do believe that that networks will have a new life as software only, and that an important component of that new life of networks as software is to be able to play back and record what you see on networks, especially to go play back and understand what happened on your network. Before I go into a little bit of details on Saisei, though, I'll give you a little bit of idea of what we were thinking when we founded Saisei, and some of our decision points were on building a new networking company today. And of course, when you're traditionally building a networking company, a supplier, you're thinking from a hardware perspective. And at Saisei, we took a very decisive action to build and become one of the industry's first only independent software vendors building network appliances without hardware. And there was a lot of reasons for that, a lot of them financial as well. And you can just imagine, when you're trying to build a new network appliance company, if you do the traditional method of going out and building a new big proprietary piece of hardware, it costs millions and millions of dollars to do so. And I've personally been, this is my first software-only company, but I personally worked at 3 or 4 different networking companies, and literally we went out and raised $50 to $150 million just to bring a new network appliance into the market. And it's a very, very expensive task, and to do so, from your breaking point day one, you get this idea and you want to go out and build a new network appliance. You're going to spend the first 6 to 12 months of your life with a tin cup in front of your hand, going out and talking to venture capitalists just to try to raise, $10 to $50 million to get your idea off the ground. Once you build or raise that money, you'll start building a product, but you're going to dump, and especially in the early days, you're going to dump 70 to 80% of that money you raise into building a network appliance. There's a lot of hardware, a lot of test equipment, ovens, ASICs, FPGAs, and whatnot that needs to be purchased to go out and prototype your solution that you're trying to build. If you're lucky, you'll spend somewhere less than $50 to $60 million just to get your product out the door. And then once you do that, you're going to have to go out and raise another big, gigantic amount of money just to try to bring your product to market and go get customers and secure it. So it's a very, very capital-intensive business to go out and build new appliances. And the service providers out here understand how much money you dump into these monolithic proprietary hardware platforms is because vendors also dump tremendous amounts of money into building them. And now look at a brand new company that's just getting started and has some really great ideas to go out and build network appliances, and we're going to do it from a software base only. Maybe this isn't true for every software company in the world, but it certainly was for Saisei, that we were able to go out, get ourselves off the ground with literally about $500,000 in funding, use that $500,000 to get our initial prototypes working and prove our concepts that we knew what we were doing, that we had some great ideas that customers liked, to go out and raise an additional, just very small amount of money comparatively, less than $1 million, to develop a product that's ready for shipment, that's in beta, it's in 20 accounts or so, or maybe a little bit less than that. And then after we literally have a product completed, ready to go to market, we can bring it into trials and prepare to take it into production networks. We're now closing our Series A financing of $5 million. And that's to execute our go-to-market plan and produce the next 2 and 3 versions of our virtual appliance. So it's a tremendous, maybe a 20-to-1 cost ratio on us building a software-defined virtual appliance versus a piece of hardware. And our customers are going to benefit from that as much as we are. And I really think, I used to joke with people when I initially founded Saisei, it was that I had nothing more than $1 and a dream. And that dream is coming true, though, because the lower cost that it takes to build this kind of a software appliance, all you really need is some really talented, smart people, like my co-founder, John Harper, and their chief architect, Dr. Dave Newman, sitting out here, our COO, sitting next to him, Rob Hubbard. Just getting a lot of great experienced people together with a relatively little bit amount of money compared to building a hardware company, and just some really great ideas can form a world-class networking company and build solutions and literally go out and compete with some very large players with innovative, great new technology. Just some other experiences on why would you want to go out and build a software-only virtual appliance, from day one. I can tell you from my experiences at being at hardware companies over the last decade or more, we always run into problems with hardware. So you go out and you get your first product out the door, and there's some features that customers come back and say, well, you really need to look at doing this, and we go back to the hardware team, and they say, oh, well, we're sorry, but the FPGAs that we've created, there's no more memory left, the network processor doesn't have any more capabilities, or there's no more bits left to put new information in the forwarding table, or we didn't think about that idea when we built our ASIC, so we need to go out and spin a new ASIC, and that's going to cost us $1 million, and it's going to take us a year to develop that. And also, we just built this new product, and we need to get it in engineering's hands, so we're going out and we're trying to build dozens of prototypes because each group in engineering needs their own platform. You have a group who's going to support your product, so you have to go out and get them platformed. And then you got customers who are going to go out and be your first trials, and you're just literally dumping millions of dollars from the get-go into getting hardware into all those people's hands. And one of the first things that you'll realize is that you made a mistake, and you have to put a green wire or a blue wire on a piece of hardware, and you have to go collect all your hardware back again and do an ECO on it, or worse, have to replace a chip, and this can cost you another hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. And I've personally been involved in new product development where we went out and installed the first 100, and then in the first month we had to go send armies of people out all over the world to go replace cards or just solder a blue wire on something. And then the advantages that we get from building a software-only appliance are so great. Some of the technologies that you've heard about today that are enabling a lot of this, like DPDK and SRIOV and PCI bypass, that's enabling us to build these carrier-grade network appliances on off-the-shelf hardware. It means now that when we add new functions, the only thing that we're really looking at is how many clock cycles and how much DRAM does it take for us to take customers' feedback and add a feature. And we have Intel and AMD who are increasing the amount of clock cycles that we get in between frames so that we can add more and more network functions, literally just on the fly without having to think about the hardware limitations. Over the last year, as Saisei product is coming out to market, I can't tell you how many times I sat around with our team and said, man, this customer said it'd be really cool if we could do this function. And we come in the next week and somebody's coded it and they've made it a reality and it's working. And there was no study to find out if this FPGA had more bits left in it or if this network processor can perform those instructions. It's just great. And now we're in trials. We have trials all over the world. We haven't spent a dime on our trials, right? Our trials are sending a customer an email and saying, hey, go download this, put it on this Intel or this AMD platform and make sure it has this type of NIC. And it's worked flawless. We haven't had one install that hasn't gone perfectly and just started working right from the get-go. And another great thing as a startup company, we're not calling up our contract manufacturer and saying, Scott in the back here told us that we're going to sell 100 to some customer in the first month, and so we have to go out and spend another couple $1 million to build up inventory. There is no forecasting with software. It's just if we're going to sell 100, we're going to download 100 images off of our website or send 100 emails. It also gives us this amazing flexibility on our pricing models. If you're a hardware vendor, you're literally just, when you're looking at the cost, it's, how many do you want? You've got 50 locations, you have to deploy 50 boxes. If you have 1,000 locations, you have to deploy 1,000 boxes. And that your price is going to be purely based on the number of hardware units you deploy and the capacity that you're there. And your profit and your cost, the price that you charge is purely based on your cost of goods. How much your contract manufacturer is charging you to build your appliance. And when you have those types of costs, the customers are scared to death to make, if you're a carrier here, you know how long it takes for you to validate a new hardware platform and what a great decision it is to put that new piece of hardware in your network that you're going to have to support for the next 5 to 7 years. And you have these tremendously long sales cycles of bringing new applications and services and hardware into a telco environment because they're scared to death to deploy something that they're going to be stuck with for 5 or 7 years. Whereas with software, the risk is so small for a telco to deploy new services on commercial off-the-shelf hardware. If I go into a telco and I install my virtual appliance and I don't meet their needs and their performance, they can delete me from behind a desk and take another vendor on. The pricing model is also incredibly flexible. And we can price our solutions based on the number of subscribers in a network. We can price it on how much capacity our CPUs. We can do custom pricing. We have a customer now that we provided pricing for that's based on the number of airplanes they're going to put us on. It's just completely flexible to us. And the advantage of that goes to our customers as well. So speaking of our customers, what are our customers telling us? Our customers are telling us that they feel like their costs are spiraling out of control to build up their network capacity, and they need a way to reduce their costs to bring bandwidth to their customers, and that switching to a software or commercial off-the-shelf model is one of their key factors that they need to be successful. They're also telling us that on their existing networks today, that they simply don't have enough visibility and control into the users, the applications, the information flows that are going across their network, and that their bandwidths are increasing so much that they feel like they need better tools to manage congestion in their network. And as much as they want to shift to this kind of commercial off-the-shelf model, the NFV model, the software telco model, that they're not going to do that until they have much better visibility and much better control of their network. And that's what we're trying to provide them. If they look at the ability to have increased visibility and increased control on your network, there's a lot of existing monolithic hardware platforms out there that people are using and people are being pitched to by their other vendors. Whether it's a DPI solution, a traffic management solution, some network tap or visibility solution, policy controls, they're all being presented as proprietary hardware. And they're trying to use very old hardware to solve new problems within the virtualization space, with customers wanting to go to software. And they're just not really getting there with hardware. And we think that the software is going to be much more flexible. And that's what our customers are looking for. And so, what we think is needed and what our customers are telling us is needed, to kind of make this leap into software-defined networking and software-based telco, or NFV, it's that you really have to take a fresh look and think outside of the box when you're going to start building new network functions. And what I mean by that is a lot of people think about going out and building, software-defined virtual appliances is they're still thinking inside the box. Well, I'm a router vendor, so I should build virtual routers. I'm a switch vendor, I should build virtual switches. I'm a DPI guy, so I should build software-based DPI. There's no reason to think in that box. If you have a whole new generation of networks being formed as software only, the types of appliances that we need in the future aren't even defined today. You can't think that everything that's solved in the physical world is going to be solved the same way in a virtual world or in a software world. And as Saisei, that's one of the things that we really press hard on, is that we're not putting ourselves in a box either now or in the future on what types of functions our virtual appliances could provide. The functions that we provide in our virtual appliances will be whatever our customers tell us to do and not constrained by what the industry thinks an appliance is or what a network function is. And the world is our oyster to what types of network functions we can provide as long as we have the clock cycles in between frames to do so. And that customers are just really looking to be able to monitor, control, and get the greatest visibility, the most granular software control that they can get on their networks based on all the information, users, applications, and more importantly, the types of health that they see their application flows have in their network to meet their quality of service agreements. So some of the things that we strive for at Saisei, and we think the industry is heading for, that the idea of having packet-based appliances is dead and gone. That no matter what device you're on today, whether it's your mobile phone, your computer, your set-top box, all of these devices are originating flows. They're not packets, and flows tell a big story about what's on your network. A flow, a packet might have a 5-tuple or a 12-tuple and a lot of information in it, but you can correlate that information not just with what's in those flows and what's in those packets, but with lots of external information. And a flow tells you about a user, a source location, a destination location. It tells you about application information, about what type of data is carried in the application. It tells you, what carriers are going through there, what BGP autonomous systems numbers, whether your flow starting in China, the United States, or Germany, or anywhere else in the world. And just an endless amount of information is carried in a flow, much more than what we think of in the 5-tuple or 12-tuple as in open flow. And that if you could take all of this information that's in a flow and actually build policies around it, put this information-rich fields into a forwarding table, and then be able to make policy controls on any of that information, like a policy control on traffic that goes to China, a policy control on Facebook or YouTube or Skype, or policy control based on users, any type of abstract data, even custom data that we've created just for specific customers that want us to, that you should be able to do that. And we think that all appliances in the future, instead of going in and looking at bits and bytes and counters and taking trouble, shooting calls, from Dave saying that he can't get, Facebook or YouTube to work at his location, that it's useless to go into network appliance and look at rolling counters and CRC errors and bit rates versus looking at Dave's application and his flows and the quality of experience he's getting, the health he's getting on his applications. And that's what we think the next generation of network appliances are going to do. You can go in to a network appliance and say, show Bill, show Dave, kill Bill, kill Dave, or whatever you need to do based on that user, or kill China, kill Russia, I don't mean to say that, but just do any type of policy that you want based on any of the information. And so we think that our network appliances and most virtual network appliances in the future are going to be very information-centric. They're not bits and bytes. They're about people that are using networks, going to locations, that are using applications. They're about enforcing and viewing service level agreements and reporting on whether you're meeting your service level agreement and whether you have the right application health in your network, and alarming on it if you're not getting the right application health. And so just if anyone in the audience wants to talk to us, I mean, the whole reason we're here is to meet partners and to meet customers. And if you looking for a COTS or software-only solution to provide policy-based, flow-based control in your network, you have some solutions where you'd like to increase the visibility and control in your network, whether it's wireless or fixed line in your wireless networks. If you're looking for software-based, policy enforcement engine or PCEF, please come talk to us on any of your network needs. If you're having problems with congestion in your network, we have some of the most unique solutions that I think you'll ever find for managing with and dealing with congestion in real time. Maybe just as importantly, if you're one of the guys here who's been talking about orchestration and network controllers, we'd be happy to work with you on implementing our appliance into your orchestration and controller software. And we're fully ready to do that with our SDN controller based on REST. I'm finished. Thank you for your time. If you guys want to come out and see our demo, we have several people here in the audience. Scott St. James in the back is heading our sales, and Dave Newman here, our COO, and Rob Hubbard, our marketing guy. And please come see us. If you have any questions, please let me know.